Let's bring in Matt Schlapp, former White House political director for President George W. Bush, and Christopher Hahn, a former aide to Democratic Senator from New York, Chuck Schumer. Gentlemen, thank you so much for talking to us. So you just heard the former speaker appearing on Fox News Sunday today, basically saying that he would have voted against the Debt Commission's proposal because it included tax increases. And this is a firm stand the GOP is all agreeing on. Christopher Gingrich called it, and you just heard him, the wrong commission on the wrong topic. He says the topic right now should be jobs. I mean, do you agree right now is not the time to be raising people's taxes?
Well, listen, let's talk about the tax commission for a minute here. This is supposed to, the deficit commission, this was supposed to begin a grown-up conversation about how we are going to attack our debt in this country. We can't have a grown-up conversation if Republicans are going to hold their breath and throw a tantrum anytime somebody says taxes. We've got to put everything on the table if we want to approach the deficit. Of course he's right. We need to create jobs in this country right now. We all disagree, though, about how those jobs are going to be created. Let's look at the facts. For every dollar you give in tax cuts to the upper class in this country, it only returns 30 cents to the economy. Unemployment benefits have a much bigger bang for the buck right then and there. You get $1.65 for every dollar you put back into the economy. So John Kerry, in the clip you just played prior, was absolutely right. But I'm saying that, listen, everything needs to be put on the table. Tax cuts, changing our tax code, lowering tax rates is what's in that report as well. So I don't understand why Mr. Gingrich, who used to think that, we should really examine things. Of course, he's running for president right now, so that's probably why he feels he can't say anything good about this commission report because it mentions the slightest change in the tax code that might not benefit everybody who he hopes to represent.
It's possible that he is trying to get a message out if he were to run for president, although right now he's not officially running for anything. But Matt, Gingrich also said that he would agree to a short-term extension of unemployment benefits as part of the deal. But he wants to change the way benefits are paid by putting money toward a worker training program. And he says, and not give anybody any money for not doing anything. That seems pretty reasonable, considering on Friday unemployment numbers reached 9.8%. I mean, shouldn't unemployment benefits be part of this deal?
Well, they might be part of a deal on taxes coming earlier, but there's no question that unemployment benefits are something that are very popular for policy to extend, but they don't really solve the problem. They get people through short-term job displacement, but what we really have to do is get this economy humming, and I think what people are missing is that we don't have a big deficit. We don't have a big debt in this country because our tax rates are too low. We have one of the highest corporate income rates in the developed world. Our tax the ability of the government to tax is alive and well. The problem is we are spending too much and our economy is growing too slow. The Bush tax
cuts are exactly why we have part of the debt we have right now. I mean, they added $1 trillion to it, Matt. Come on, you know
Untrue.
that. I agree,
Untrue.
though. I agree. Absolutely true. Every economist,
Christopher, you have to agree, though, when it comes to corporate taxes, we do have the highest corporate tax in the world.
Well, listen, I think that we have to have a balance here somewhere. I'm all for tax breaks if we could pay for them, but let's admit right now, if we extend the Bush tax cuts to the upper echelons of our economy, the top 2% of earners, we're going to put another $700 billion on top of our deficit we already have. We have no way to pay for it. We're talking about unemployment benefits getting people through a very short time.
Matt, I mean, okay, first of all, I'll let you respond, and then I'll ask you what I want to ask.
Well, I think the problem Chris has, which so many people have, is that the way we score tax cuts and the way the government scores tax cuts is totally untrue with reality. If we extend the Bush tax cuts, our economy will grow, corporations will begin to make investments, and guess what? Well, your friends are going to be able to get jobs again. Isn't that a good thing?
Matt, why haven't they been doing it? Why haven't they been doing it for the last 10 years? You've had these tax cuts for the last 10 years, and look at where our economy is today. These tax cuts caused this crisis. They're not going to fix it. What are we going to do? We're going to add more burden to what we already have and expect things to get better? That's crazy.
Wow, I would think that what the American people said in this election is the fact that they actually want the government to do less in their lives. They want corporations and investors and entrepreneurs to be able to have the ability to make the investments in the economy. They bet on the private sector. They didn't bet on the government sector. You might not have heard what happened in that election.
Poll after poll after poll after poll says the American people are for extending the tax cut for the people who make under $250,000. They are not in favor of extending it for people who make over $250,000.
What about a compromise?
You know that.
What about some sort of compromise?
Your viewers know that.
If let's say we scrap the $250,000 limit and extend it to $1 million. It seems that President Obama was willing to look at it that way. Christopher, is that something that perhaps Republicans would compromise on?
I'm all for that. Obviously, I'm not a Republican. I think that the Republicans are acting like petulant children. They're saying no, everyone should get extended to these tax cuts. They don't want to see them expire for anyone. They are not willing to compromise. They've got to be able to meet in the middle. That's what Congress is about. We have to find common ground and fix it. We all agree that
what happens if no compromise then is reached by the end of the lame duck session, Matt?
Then, Julie, we have a large tax increase, maybe the largest tax increase in our nation's history. So what Chris is arguing for is for Republicans to sit at a table and to raise taxes to a certain extent. The American people don't want that. They made their voices loud and clear on that. They want to make sure that the tax cuts that were passed stay in law.
If George Bush and the Republicans in Congress had dealt with the deficit 10 years ago, these tax cuts would not be expiring. Unfortunately, they didn't, and they have to expire under the rules that the Republicans created when they controlled Congress.
All right, that's all the time we have.
We have to find a way to deal with it.
Matt,
thanks for having us, Julie. Matt, nice talking to you.
Thank you both for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are getting some new warning.